We've seen this week state governors from Nigeria's oil-producing south call on President Goodluck Jonathan to declare his candidacy in the upcoming elections. Give us a sense of the political climate that is currently playing itself out in Nigeria right now.
Yeah, good morning, Alishia. The market, the political climate is actually is heating up. Basically, we've seen leaders from the South actually reach out to the president and asking him to run for elective office in the 2011 elections. Also recently we saw the northern leaders also come up and they passed the 19 governors from the northern region also reached out to the president and basically actually asking him to run for the elections. We've seen in the last 2 weeks people from different states, from Bauchi, from Borno, from the southeast, and basically everybody's actually reaching out. So it's more like a situation where the political climate is looking in the direction of a Goodluck Jonathan to run in the elections. Basically, also yesterday, the House of Reps also ratified a resolution which had actually been passed by the Senate, also saying that the elections will be brought back into January. So in the short run, basically, we would actually see a situation where the president is actually going to declare, either declare his intentions, either to run for elective office or not.
That, of course, just part of the context within which the markets are operating in right now. With this consensus having come to the fore, do you see investors starting to once again price in political risk, or are we looking at more of a case of that risk element never having left at all?
Basically, I guess the markets would actually should react positively to a situation where the political climate is actually stable. And basically, Goodluck running for president is a situation from a party consensus. It doesn't actually bring everything, doesn't douse the whole tension. We're going to have candidates from other parties also running for elective office. But basically, if there's a consensus whereby within the party, which is actually we know as the major party, the PDP, which has actually held onto elective power in the last 2 elections. Basically, we see them produce a consensus candidate without much grievances, and then I guess it's a good incentive for political stability. And when we see the elections happen in January, we would actually see it go in a good way.
Well, that's just some of what's helping uplift the markets there. It's certainly the banking sector doing its bit as well to add to the positive sentiment. What have you made of the fact that we've heard that the private arm of the World Bank is set to provide funding to help enable Nigerian banks to buy some of the distressed counterparts?
Yeah, basically we, as you said, the IFC, which is the private arm of the World Bank, has said they are actually going to they're going to partner with some Nigerian banks to buy up some of the rescued banks. Yes, what that means is, first of all, that the World Bank as a body is actually confident in the Nigerian sector, because placing your investments on ground in a Nigerian bank also says that it's a confidence vote on the Nigerian banking sector. And basically, we've seen the reforms which have been pioneered by the CBN governor, and at some point last year there was some tension, there was a lack of confidence in the sector, but over time we've seen confidence being built up. We've seen the banks go up after the passage of the AMCON bill, and yes, it's a good thing.
Well, we've got GTB amongst the banks that's mulling that option at the moment, but we were talking about it yesterday. Just looking at this company, I mean, it successfully completed a $90 million Naira denominated bond placement at the end of last year. It also successfully issued a $350 million of 5-year Euro bonds in January 2007. Is it necessary for GTB to actually go down this route, and to make their focus acquisitive growth right now?
I think it still centers on the company. If it's a process whereby they see value in acquiring some of these banks and actually spreading their tentacles in the way to cover the Nigerian banking space more effectively, then it's a plus for them. Actually, the bank, we know the disclosure level in the bank is good, and taking up one of these banks and putting it under its coverage, it's also a positive for the rescued bank.
Well, Union Bank was out with numbers a couple of days ago. It's one of the possible targets that is out there at the moment. And I was speaking to the company's CEO yesterday, and she emphasized that there are many prospective buyers sniffing around at its door. What do you see being Union Bank's investment appeal, where the question is, what next for that bank?
Yeah, Union Bank is a bank with a wide coverage. It's a bank that prior to the audit of the banking sector in 2009, it was regarded as one of the biggest banks in the country. It has a large asset size, and it has a large depositors base, and that's a plus for any prospective acquirer. Like you said, the bank MD said there are people who are looking even to acquire the bank, even as at yesterday. That just shows you the confidence people have in the bank, and it just shows you that at any point in time when the AMCON, the guidelines are out, it means that the bank would be acquired. And it's a good bank. It's a bank which every acquire will be looking to. If you look at the list of rescued banks, I guess it's the bank that tops the lots.
Well, amidst all the positivity doing its rounds, we have the oil and gas sector continuing to move against the overall market trend. It closed again lower in yesterday's session, falling back 0.4%. What's been going on there?
Yeah, first of all, I guess for the oil and gas index, first of all, we would know that the stocks which are listed there are petroleum marketing stocks. They are stocks with a very high, a high level of illiquidity, basically because a good portion of the stocks are controlled by parent companies who control about 60% of equities in each of those companies. And so basically, they do not have active price movements. But for the decline, we basically have seen in the last 2 weeks, we saw negative information coming out of African petroleum, and I guess investors have just reacted negatively to that. Basically, people are actually trying to, people have in the last 3 or 4 days tried to sell down their positions, and if it's the only stock which is actually going down in the sector, it also takes the sector down with it.
Well, certainly proving to be a drag there. To what extent is the market, though, waiting for the finalization of the petroleum industry bill to provide the same kind of catalyst AMCON did for the banking sector?
I guess the market is really expecting the petroleum industry bill. Prior to the last 3 or 4 months, we had seen a lot of talks about it, but we've seen those talks slow down in the last 3 or 4 months, and basically because focus has actually moved, on the government and on the government end. Yes, when the petroleum industry bill is actually passed, it's actually going to boost activities. If it is passed, it's going to actually boost activities in the petroleum sector, and basically it's going to boost. It's a boost for government revenue. Though as of currently, there are concerns, from even the oil majors about some clauses which are intrinsic in the bill. So I guess we'll see more and more debates in the next couple of sessions, or next couple of months on the petroleum industry bill before it is actually passed. But when it is passed, I guess it's going to be a plus for the Nigerian government, because we're going to see a significant boost in the government earnings from the sector in terms of royalties, in terms of taxes, in terms of oil revenues. Yeah.